What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Reptile Realm and another YouTube video. So today's video is about baby tortoises and building and setting up a tropical tortoise enclosure for your baby tortoises. So I have baby redfoots and they live in here. They're under their rock right now. And we're gonna be taking this whole thing and resetting it up for tropical tortoises. I set this thing up originally for sulcata tortoises, but as you see, the environment is much too dry to keep my redfoots in. But I moved my sulcatas over to this cage, which really I can't keep the humidity in this cage very well. And so that's why the sulcata's over here, because we need much less humidity for those than we do for our redfoots. So I'm gonna be building this thing out and showing you guys exactly how I'm setting it up, how I'm making it, how I'm just kind of building it for the tortoises. And yeah, we're gonna get this thing taken care of and looking real good. If you guys are looking for any of the products that I'm using today, all of the links are down in the description, so you can click through the links. You can find the cages, all that kind of stuff. So I'm using these cages right now because I already have them, and I bought these before I started getting Vision cages. So this is a Vision hat, and Vision is a really great brand that I love to work with because they build the best cages. So I also have Vision's website down below. Check out their stuff. You are paying a premium for it, but you're getting a premium. The cage. Bye. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is taking out all of the substrate and all of the plants in this cage. So I got to take them all out, haul them out, put them in a different area, and then we're going to start putting down our new substrate and getting it basically prepped and ready for the tortoises. I ended up taking out most of everything except for about an inch across the whole cage of peat moss, dirt, and cypress mulch. I want this to be my base. You certainly don't need it, but I figured since it is a pretty good base for holding moisture, I'm gonna leave it in there, and then I'm gonna start adding in my cocoa core. This is quite a bit of coconut chips, so this is gonna easily do the whole bottom of that. So we're gonna open this thing up and then spread the coconut chips all the way across that and basically install this. And then we wanna get these things pretty wet because they come super dry, and we gotta add our humidity into this thing. So now we have a pretty basic blank slate all the way across this whole thing, except for this rock where one of the tortoises are hiding. This one decided to come out and explore a little bit, see what I was up to. Next, we get our sheet of Spagnum Moss. So this is going to help with moisture control as well. So we're gonna basically put our whole sheet in there, get this thing under here, add a bunch of water to it, and this is going to absorb all of this water and get it pretty wet. So this whole thing is going to inflate and just swell up. Literally in a couple minutes, we're gonna be this thing just is gonna be a huge blob of moss. Meanwhile, while we're waiting for the sphagnum moss to absorb the water, let me show you what I have cooking in here. So we have some baby quail in here. So the goal is to turn these quail into a small quail farm. So I'll raise these guys up, and we will essentially just raise them up, and then they're gonna have eggs, and then I'll be able to feed the eggs and the quail chicks to my lizards and basically have a natural source of food that is very cheap. So I have an incubator. We have chickens and ducks and all sorts of stuff outside, so I incubate a lot of stuff, but we have 120 quail in here. And then as soon as they get out, I'm probably going to take this 734 Vision cage, clean this whole thing out right here, and turn it into the quail cage so that they can't jump out and fly, because I believe quail can fly pretty well. And just like that, we have all of our moss nice and moist and full of water. So all of this is ready to go into the cage. So we're gonna cut this in half, use about half of it, mix it in with the substrate, and this will help hold moisture much better. Now that we have half of our moss mixed in, we're going to take our spray thing, turn this thing on. We're going to spray this whole cage down with a lot of water, getting all of our chips moist all the way through. That is pretty much all we're going to be doing for this cage. So we have the hide or the burrow right there, and then I have a tree back there which basically just provides shade in the back corner. So if they want more shade and want to get out of the UVB, they can. Then we have our water dish right there, food dish, they're both in here chomping away, eating their food. And yeah, the strawberries looks like they're a hit. I rarely give them strawberries, but once in a while I'll give them a treat. And these little guys can have some protein as well, so you can feed them some eggs, and yeah, it's good for their diet. So not a lot of tortoises can have protein, but redfoots will eat mice in the wild. And yeah, don't ask me how they catch them or if they just eat the ones that are dead, but anyways, they eat mice in the wild. And yeah, the humidity is now pretty humid in here, but we have an area where they can get out of the humidity, warm up, and then go back to their burrow when they want to sleep. So this is a pretty good habitat for them, and really looks pretty good. And while you're here on this video, I might as well feed the rest of my tortoises and maybe some of my animals. All right, so we have our collard greens. We're gonna just add these in here and then take out the stuff that they didn't eat from yesterday. So clearly I overfed them a little bit yesterday, and we got some of this dead dried stuff, but we'll put in that dirt, and we'll just compost everything that's, you know, dry and old and not edible anymore. So we just compost it and we just turn it into something better. So these are the sulcata tortoises, and they seem to be enjoying this habitat pretty well. So we'll probably spray their cage down too, but these guys seem to be growing really quickly, pretty healthy, and really doing a pretty good job overall. These are my favorite tortoises right here. They're my Aldabra tortoises. So we're gonna give them some veggies, but as you see, they're a little bit more skittish. They're more of a skittish breed when they're young. They like to run away, and they move pretty quickly for their size. So I'm going to be adding that other half of the moss into this cage to help with the moisture, and then we'll spray everything down. But as you see, like if they dig down, we start getting moisture down here, and then the top dries out over time. So got to add some more moisture, but these guys really like to be warm. So we have a heater underneath here. So their hides in here, these bricks will warm up, will stay warm. There's a heater under here, and then I have 2 heat lamps in this cage with UVB running really close to the ground here over the food, because I need good UVB, and then UVB running over there. And yeah, that's kind of how I have this cage set up. And then I have my automatic mister in here, and then my water dish that needs to be replaced. Hey Aurelius, are you climbing around in your logs, exploring your cage? Taking care of reptiles sometimes feels like a chore, but the most of it feels very rewarding, and it's a lot of fun to have like mini ecosystems like this, to have crazy wild pets that most people, you know, think that they shouldn't even be in your house, but it's super fun to have really cool species that are only seen in certain areas of the world, and then just to be able to live in your basement and you just kind of, you know, take care of them and be responsible for their health and their growth. And then there's also the other aspect of a lot of these species are endangered. They're endangered species, like the Aldabra tortoises are, you know, they're endangered in their area. Gotta water all the plants. This little guy that sits here, This one like requires like no water, it seems like, and it just grows perfectly fine, but I just give it water every once in a while and thing never seems like it struggles. So I just give it a little bit of water and maybe I'll put a little bit more. These big leaves just kind of run all the water into the center of the pot, which is pretty sweet. And yeah, the aldabras need water. And then we're going to be redoing this cage right here. So this cage is going to get redone. And yeah, I need to add the moss. Add the moss into here, but I'm going to get this a little bit wet before we do that. That's pretty much it. So I'm gonna finish up working on these cages, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.